Good morning. It's Saturday. We are spending our day today loving our neighbor with our church. What that means is we're going to be outside at a couple houses doing landscaping and some other service projects for those who...
Red light camera ahead.
I have my directions on, so sorry about that. We're going to be just doing service projects for people, for homes in the area of our church. Leading up to today, I had some anticipation. It sounds terrible, but honestly, my go-to emotion was, I don't want to do this. But that's why I'm here. I'm encouraging you to, everybody gets those feelings when there is something to do, especially when there's service involved and there's anticipation, like something that's scheduled out in advance. When it comes down to it, though, the greatest command is to love God first and love others and love your neighbor as yourself. And so I spend time on my own house, and truth be told, I don't enjoy doing that either. So if God says love God, love your neighbor as yourself, if I love myself enough to do something at home that I don't feel like doing, I'm going to love my neighbor and do something I don't feel like doing. So on that note, I'm not a leader today. I'm not in a leadership position. I'm literally going to be the extra hands and feet that get the job done. And I was thinking about, I'm going to speak to Overthinkers Anonymous on this one. I have been room mom in the past for classroom, and generally what that means, if you've never done it, it is organizing group gifts for the teachers, and it is organizing the parties that happen throughout the year. And as room mom, you tend to be the one who makes a lot of plans, and then you also delegate. The parties generally last about 45 minutes, 50 minutes maybe. And in that 50 minutes, you are expected to keep the kids occupied with fun activities. And as they get older, sometimes the activities you think will be fun or the snacks that you think will be awesome, maybe they won't like them. So there is some pressure, and that's what I'm getting at. The pressure comes from the unknown, and oftentimes we don't want to do things that make us uncomfortable. So when you're walking into a situation where you are serving with love, let that lead, because I can tell you the actual thing that unfolds is not going to be nearly as complicated as your anticipatory mindset will make it, especially if you have any sort of anxiety, which I've come to believe actually that more people have anxiety than don't, especially in today's world. It's kind of a side effect of living. And I allowed anxiety to rule my life. I'm talking from first grade for a good 30 years. So I have anxious thinking habits even now that I don't, actively suffer with anxiety. So this is just my encouragement to you. Don't talk yourself out of doing good things. And I hope you have a great day, and maybe find a way to serve your neighbor today. And one quick note, I'm seeing it in my video here. See this? This is a chip. This cup is handmade by a potter. I purchased it with some birthday money. It was an indulgence because it was $30, which generally I don't spend $30 on a mug, but I had birthday money and it was justified, so I purchased it. And it didn't look like this when I bought it, just so you know. The first time I used it, I was sitting outside doing Bible time, and I had the dogs out with me, and I actually, since I was sitting on a chair that has a armrest, normally I would put my coffee right on the armrest, but because this mug was special and I was so excited, it was the first time using it, I actually put it on the ground to avoid breakage. I wanted it on the ground under the chair, and I figured that was a safer place than being up on the armrest. And I asked my little guy, will you give me the leash for the dogs, because I was going to hold on to them, you know, just with a leash. And he came with the leash and tossed it to me, which is fine. That's typical. But where does it land? Right on top of my mug, and inside my coffee on top of it. The buckle on the leash landed right on the top and in my coffee. So took a big took a big chip out of my coffee mug. And I reached out to the potter and I said, is there any way you can fix this, even if it's not something I can drink out of? I want to save it because it's beautiful and it's you know, a work of art. And she looked at it and she said, you know, I can't fix it to make it look new again, but what I can do is suggest that you glue it. And, you know, I mean, a couple people were actually recommending that I just turn it into like a flower pot, which I could. And then I thought, well, I don't have to drink from that part. So I've washed it, and at one point I just put it back in my coffee mug cabinet, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just look at it. But, you know, every time it's in there, I want to use it. So I'm drinking from it. I don't know if it's probably fine. I don't drink from the spot that's got the acrylic paint and the glue, and it's been washed and all these things. So on that note, life is flexible, and you have to be flexible. And, you know, I choose joy. I choose to be joyful and grateful. I remember specifically when this happened, I didn't have anger about it, but I was just so, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was one of those things where I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I buy cheap mugs, and none of those have chips. None of those have had the experience, but, you know, the one that was special, that's the one that breaks. So I'm sure there's something to be learned from it, but I didn't get mad. It just is what it is. So that's kind of my attitude with life. You know, if you can't change it, if you have no control over it, it does not deserve your stress. So again, I think I said it already, but have a great day.